And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Wicked Case podcast. I am your host, Cool Kyle, and with me, as always, is my tag team partner, the Rev Kev, flexing his bicep.
Oh, Rev Kev Nation's here.
And we are the Wicked Case.
We are the Wicked Case. What's happening, friend?
Hey.
Hey.
Hey, dude.
Forget about it. All right, we're going to jump right in because there's a lot to talk about and very little time. So, this was brought up last week, but we had a little bit of a technical snafu because Kyle accidentally deleted one of our episodes from last week.
I did.
So,
What's his name?
Rubik's Cube McThickums.
McThickums. Wait, that's his name?
No, that was what they were calling him.
Oh, I was about to say.
That is a reference to the Michigan running back, Blake Corum.
Blake Corum?
Vote Corum for Heisman. We're watching the Michigan game right now. So, I just want to talk quickly about the NHL paywall from ESPN+. Mm-hmm. So, there are some games. Last week, the Bruins had a game against the Rangers, and a couple weeks prior to that, the Capitals had a game against the Penguins. Oh, sorry. The Penguins had a game against the Oilers. My mistake. And these games were put behind a paywall where the only way you could watch them was on ESPN+. If the NHL wants to grow the game, you can't put these games on ESPN+. They have to be nationally televised on ESPN or on TNT or whatever.
Yeah.
I understand what ESPN Plus is coming from because they want to make the money because they know people will pay the money to watch it. But if those are the hardcore fans. You've already got them in your demographic. They're not going to go anywhere. It's these casual fans that you're trying to bring in that is going to hurt you.
Yes, yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I understand if they said, hey, listen, we're losing money. We need these people to pay to watch these games. But it's like in the long run, you're losing fans. You get your choice of either fans or money.
Right.
You know, and this is...
So, I mean, you as the NHL are blowing an opportunity to let, Crosby versus McDavid, which who knows how many more times that's going to happen, be put behind a paywall. That's not going to be helpful to the casual fan.
No.
If it's a game, if it's like a random game, it's fine. Like, if it's like, Islanders, Capitals, sure, whatever. Put it behind the paywall. Who cares?
Or a crappy team like the Coyotes.
Exactly. It's just one of those things. But if you have high-profile athletes that you're trying to get your game to be involved with, you can't. No.
Mm-mm.
No.
It makes total sense. I get it.
It can't happen. Obviously, with the fact that we live in New England, we're blessed with the fact that 80% of the games, 85% of the Bruins games are on NESN.
Yeah.
And I've bought Fubo. Hey, wonderful product, Fubo, by the way. Not a sponsor.
Yeah.
Also not a sponsor, Uzu. I use a lot of Uzu.
Yeah. Uzu is definitely one of those ones that, like, if you want to watch any game, East Coast, West Coast, doesn't matter what division.
If anybody out there listening knows, anybody from Uzu, I didn't send a message. I was planning on sending a message. I'll send one this week. I would love Uzu as a sponsor because we will hype them up constantly. $7 a week, $20 a month, and $120 for the year, right?
Mm-hmm.
No, it's less than that, isn't it? No, you're right. It would be $120 for the year.
I think 120 for the year, yeah.
So, that's a steal.
Yeah.
You get all the sports channels. College football is a little harder to come by when it comes to Uzu, but all the major sports channels and stuff, you get all the NFL games, NFL Red Zones you get with Andrew Siciliano and with Scott Hansen. You get all the networks, the MLB, NHL, NFL, and NBA networks, all the baseball games, all the regional sports channels, everything. And you can just jump back and forth from whatever you want. If you've got a smart TV, you can cast it to your TV. And then if you want to watch another game on your phone, you can do that.
Yeah. And also, if you're using a computer, too, I found out you can do picture-in-picture.
Yep.
So you can have one game up in the corner while you're watching a bigger one on the main screen.
And for those people who do not want to sign up for Prime, you can also use Uzu to sign up for and to watch the Prime games on Thursday.
Yes, because they do have them on Uzu as well.
Yes.
So it seemed...
Not a sponsor, but a great product, Uzu and Fubu. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's a bummer that these teams are put behind a paywall, and there are some people that miss out. We have friends of ours that missed out on the Bruins game a couple weeks ago against the Rangers because it was on ESPN Plus, and he didn't get it, and we tried to help him out, and he was just like, fuck it, I don't care.
Yeah.
And he missed out on it. So the other thing I need to talk about quickly that is a bogus thing is the offsides calls on goals. Everybody
Oh, yeah.
Everybody asked for. They said, we need to get these in. And now goals like Trevor Zegras' goal the other night, which was the Michigan that he scored against the... Did they play the Wild, I think it was? Yeah, the Wild. It got called back. This wonderful goal that was scored got called back because 20 seconds before, somebody's skate was a quarter of an inch off the fucking line.
Yeah, and the team challenged it, right?
Yes. And the problem with that is as I was watching some other people talk about it, there's a delay on top of a delay on top of a delay. Because what happens is the team wants to look at it, so they go to a TV timeout. Then they're still looking at it. Then they decide they want to have the refs review it. Now you have to wait again for it. So now you're waiting 5 minutes for a goal that happened 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
I can understand, you know what? If it's not seen within the first 5 or 10 seconds by the ref in their eyes, it needs to just go. If it's that close, just let it go.
Yeah.
Think about this with icing too. Most players that are throwing the puck in the zone, or like veteran players or whatever, they throw the puck in. They're close to the line where it could be considered icing and not. Otherwise, there'd be icing every other call because you have to gain the line, the blue line or whatever, the center line, before you can dump it in, and they won't call it an icing. But there are some people that dump it just behind. Just let it go.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I think I understand why there's rules for a reason. Mm-hmm. But, like, you got to kind of give them somewhat of a leniency.
Well, and before they had this offsides call, there was a time frame where there wasn't, and they would show it on the news, and they'd say, oh, yep, they missed the call this time. That guy was just a quarter of an inch or so offsides. Nobody lost any sleep over it. It happened, okay? Yeah. Let it go.
But that could be the reason why they changed it up, too, because the refs are tired of getting shit on all the time.
That's fine, but now they're getting shit on even more because now you're sitting around waiting, and you're stopping the flow of hockey is supposed to be fast-paced, back and forth. You can't sit there for 5 or 10 minutes. What are you laughing at?
My mom texted and says, I can't hear any coyotes, but I can hear the Rev Kev.
Delightful. You can't... Never mind. You can't... Yeah, you can't slow down the time of the game.
No.
No, can't do it.
No, I totally agree. I think it's ridiculous.
Like I said, if the ref notices it within the first 10 or 15 seconds after it happened, and they think that there's a call, just call it offsides, okay? And if it wasn't, it wasn't. If it was, it was. But I know there have been times where the Bruins have scored goals, and goals have been scored against the Bruins, where the original offsides call happened, the puck's in the zone for 25, 30 seconds, then the goal goes in, and then they're like, wait a minute, 30 seconds ago, this guy was offsides.
Yeah.
And you're just like, oh, for fuck's sake, just let us play, guy. Come on.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that one.
So that's one of my many grinds my gears, pet peeve, burn my bacon kind of deals.
Oh, yeah.
The NHL paywall and the bogus offsides calls that are being called. Do we want to discuss Mitchell Miller?
Well, I mean, we can if you want.
We don't have to.
I mean, you've already brought it up, so go ahead. We'll talk about it.
So basically, everybody else has talked about it. We'll just quickly touch on it because we're not going to try to make this too overly political. Kyle has his opinion on it. I have my opinion on it. So, although there has been new information brought in from the actual victim who wrote a letter or whatever to people or talked about it, which might sway your vote a little bit now.
Okay.
Because apparently Mitchell Miller has been doing what he's been doing since he was in first grade to this kid. So it's been kind of a long process. I guess the kid got bullied on the bus. And so basically, this is sensitive subject matter, and I appreciate, anything, listening, discretion is advised. For those of you who do not know, 20-year-old Mitchell Miller, who was drafted in 2020 by the Arizona Coyotes when he was 14, so about 6 years ago, he and a classmate of his in Ohio bullied a black disabled child and basically took a lollipop and spun it in a urinal and had the kid lick it, and the kid got tested for HIV and all kinds of stuff, and he got his draft rights renounced by the Coyotes, and the University of North Dakota revoked his scholarship to go to play hockey, though he was still able to go to the school for learning. And then the Bruins decided a couple weeks ago or whatever, 2 weeks ago, hey, we're going to sign this kid without consulting the parents of the kid or the NHL or anybody. And it was a big firestorm over the last week or so. And the Bruins end up getting rid of. Well, they terminated his contract, but it's not as simple as that. I think he might still get money out of the deal, but
yeah.
And I will say, like, I do agree with you in people getting second chances, but this kid's like on the borderline of, like I said, like multiple like racial hate crimes, and you just can't have it, especially with the Hockey is for Everyone initiative. The Rapid 7 company that sponsors the Bruins on their jerseys this year, their CEO is black. He's got a son who's disabled. That's a bad look. And all the players were against it. All the fans were against it. Every Bruins fan on Twitter came together for once instead of saying, oh, Tuukka Rask is trash, we need to get rid of him, or this player's washed up. And everyone was like, this kid needs to go. What he's looking for is he just wants to be able to further his NHL career. But now there's no guarantee from either the NHL or the AHL that he'd even be eligible to play. And even if he was, he would certainly not be welcomed with open arms in the locker room. And I understand he is a hell of a talent. He had like 80-something points in the USHL and like 60 games as a defenseman. Fantastic numbers. But again, it's bad vibes bringing in to a team. We could talk about this quickly too. The Bruins are a wagon right now. They're rolling.
Yeah, they're doing very well.
13-2 now, 12-2.
12-2, yeah.
At the time of this recording.
Yeah.
So.
And I will say this much going back. I know we discussed it as well, and usually I'm like you said, I'm all for giving people second chances. And if this had been a one-off incident, I would kind of fight you on it a little bit more. But if you're telling me that this has been a reoccurring thing, and this kid has been bullied by Mitchell Miller since like first grade all the way up to high school.
That's what he said. And
if that's what he said and that's what happened, then I'm in agreement with you. I think that he really shouldn't be in the NHL.
Mitchell kept trying to say he was his friend and kept befriending him, and they would bully him on the bus, and they'd kick him and hit him and all kinds of stuff. And Mitchell didn't want to ever apologize. He never wanted to apologize to the family. Other classmates felt remorse, and they said they were sorry, and they apologized. Mitchell just never seemed like he wanted to apologize. He's seeing this as an inconvenience because this is what's holding him back from joining the NHL. And you can't look at it that way. And also, It begs the question, too, who's accountable for this on the Bruins end? Is it Sweeney and Neely? Because apparently they've been looking into this kid since the offseason, like in the end of August or something. So if that's the case, and Cam Neely did have a press conference, and he was the only one that had one the day that they decided to release him. But
so here's my take on it from just looking at it from the fans' perspective and seeing what happened in the sequence of events. I think that they looked at this kid, and originally they thought it was a one-off incident and probably thought, okay, he's not going to do it again. But it was poor planning on their part. They didn't consult the parents. They didn't consult the league.
Nope.
And at that point, it's like, okay, you got this guy in. Now you're finding out it wasn't just a one-off incident, that he wasn't remorseful, that he did it multiple times.
Well, not to mention, too, he had to write a letter to all the other NHL teams before he got drafted in 2020, letting them know what was happening. So it's not like the Bruins didn't go in and they were like, oh, we have to do more investigation on this. It's not like this just came to light. We knew it. I compared it to the Aaron Hernandez thing with the Patriots. You knew he had a little bit of a shady backstory when he was in Bristol, Connecticut in high school. You weren't really sure what it was. And then it turned out after he was in Florida and went to New England, you got a gangster on your team, and like a certifiable gangster who kills people. And obviously it was a bad look for the Pats, but Belichick was looking at the player. He thought, and there are times that people can change and you can say, hey, I did a stupid thing when I was younger, but if you've been doing this since you were in first grade and you've never once shown any remorse towards it and you just keep doing it over and over again, part of me, only because of the backlash, wants me to see this kid play in the NHL because he would get clobbered.
Yeah.
He'd be clobbered by the first play. It could be any NHL player that just sees him along the boards and just bam, 5-minute boarding and a game misconduct, well worth it.
Oh, yeah.
Well worth it.
And I think that's the thing, too, is that's probably why they shouldn't let him play, because it's a liability now at that point.
Yes, and it's like I said, it was a huge black eye on the Bruins for a bit, but it's on management. It's not even on the players. The players all bonded together and was like, we don't want any part of this. This has no place in our locker room. Hockey is for everyone. That's the Hockey is for Everyone initiative. It's the same thing with sometimes WWE with the, I know their storylines, but don't be a bully, be a star. But we're gonna have a whole thing where little poor Rey Mysterio is getting bullied and beat up, and like I get it's a
Yeah.
storyline, but still you can't.
Yeah. It's and I agree with you on that. I think that, like you said, when it's that consistent and it's been that level of bullying, then normally, like I said, if somebody made one mistake and it was like a peer pressure sort of thing, and he had done it and been remorseful and said, "I'm sorry, it won't happen again," then I would be more on his side and be like, "All right, you know what? You need to give the kid a second chance. Shit happens. People make mistakes." But you can't.
But multiple times.
Multiple times.
It's a three. It's the you make the first mistake, shame on me. Second time, shame on you. Third time, fool me once, fool me twice.
Yeah. Fool you the third time, and you're just an asshole.
3 strikes and you're out. It's real simple.
Yeah. So I mean, I know you probably were thinking I was going to give you a harder time on that, but
well, no, but that's because I brought the other stuff to light. Because obviously, for a while, you were debated about you got to give a person a second chance. But obviously, like you said now, well, if this has been going on since first grade and he's never shown any remorse towards it, then no, sorry, fuck you. You got to go.
Yeah, that's years of abuse.
Right.
And I agree with you on that.
Right.
That shouldn't have happened.
So on that note, that's out of our way. Let's have a little bit of fun. So these are popular with NFL players or NFL games and whatever. We're going to do a game called, I'm going to change it from start bench cut to start scratch cut. Because you wouldn't really bench a player, you would scratch them in the game.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to give you 10 different options. These are all current day players for the most part, except for one is a little bit older, but you'll know who the players are.
Okay.
So 3 players, one starts, one you have to scratch, and one you have to cut. First round. Kyle Connor, Mitch Marner, Vladimir Tarasenko. Who do you start? Who do you scratch? And who do you cut?
That's tough.
Oh, they're supposed to be tough. That was the whole point of this.
Okay.
They're not supposed to be easy.
I think I would start Mitch Marner.
Okay.
I think I would scratch Tarasenko.
Okay.
And I guess you'd have to cut Connor. I don't know.
Okay.
It's a tough choice, but they're all excellent players.
No, they are. But like you said, it's difficult to pick.
Yeah.
This one's going to be even worse. Start, scratch, cut. Connor McDavid, Alex Ovechkin, Patrick Kane.
Oh my God. All right. So I'm gonna start McJesus.
Of course.
You have to.
Yeah, of course.
I think I would scratch Ovi.
Okay.
And then I think Kane's got to go in that instance.
Okay. So you got to cut Kane. You're going to scratch Ovi.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do an SX for scratch. All right. Roman Yossi, Victor Hedman, Morgan Riley. And if your favorite team or player is not in here, I apologize. I just try to come up with like 10 random ones off the top of my head and mix in forwards, defensemen, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I think I would start Hedman.
Okay.
I think I would scratch Yossi.
Okay.
And I guess
Cut Riley
Cut
by
Riley.
default. Okay.
Yeah.
This one I'm going to call the Nova Scotia one because all these players are from the same area in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
Nathan McKinnon, Sidney Crosby, Brad Marchand.
Oh. Good Lord. That's a hard one.
Oh, man.
That's really tough. All right, so I think if I had to start somebody, I gotta go Crosby.
Okay.
And then I think the sitter is Marchand.
The scratched?
Scratch, yeah.
And you're going to cut McKinnon, huh?
I know, it's a tough choice, but...
It is a tough choice.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you didn't really show too much of your homerism.
Yeah.
David Pastrnak, Jack Eichel, Nikita Kucherov.
I think just from sheer fact, I got to start Pasta.
Of course.
I mean, and on top of that, he's an extremely good player. He's amazing.
Every day he keeps getting better and better and scores more and more goals. And the longer you wait to sign him, his $8.8 million contract that he wants or whatever is going to go up to like 11.
Yeah, it's going to go up.
If they were smart, you would try to sign him immediately. 8x8 for 8 years, 88. There you go, just like his number.
Yeah, I think I think the bench player is going to be Eichel.
Okay.
And then Kucherov, I think, would have
cut
to
Coochie?
cut. Yeah.
All right, we're gonna mix this one up a little bit.
All right.
Prime Erik Karlsson, prime Chris Letang, or prime Zdeno Chara.
Oh.
So two of them obviously are more offensively oriented,
Yeah.
and then one of them is more defensive.
I think I would have to go prime Carlson.
Okay, for the start.
Yeah.
He's getting back to form now, as you saw in the thing
Yeah.
on the list for the Sharks. So
Yeah.
he's got a big contract, and I'm gonna bring this up at the very end before we go to the a little bit of football stuff.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
go. So Carlson's the start. Okay.
I think Letang's got to be the sit, and I said
Scratch. Okay.
yeah, scratch, and I'd have to cut Char.
That's all right. If you're looking for goal scoring, that's fine. If you're looking for defense, Char is your man.
Yeah, yeah. No, Char was a great defensive player.
Speaking of defensive players, these are all defensive forwards.
Okay.
Jonathan Toews, Ryan O'Reilly, Patrice Bergeron.
Well, I mean, if we're going defensive forwards, Bergeron's got to be right up there. So yeah.
Okay. Scratch.
I think scratch is going to be Riley.
Okay. And then the cut is going to be Toews.
I think so. Yeah.
That's fair. Artemi the Breadman Panarin, Austin Matthews, Evgeny Malkin.
I think Panarin's got to be the start.
Okay.
I think my sit would be. I'm gonna say Malkin.
Okay.
I mean, that's tough.
And then your scratched is Austin Matthews. 60 goals. Austin Matthews last year is cut from the team.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Austin Matthews is great, but
Okay, how about this one? Tuukka Rask, Carey Price, Henrik Lundqvist.
ooh, that's a tough one too. I mean, if I'm choosing a team on my own, Tuuk's got to be.
Let's say you're taking this goaltender you're gonna have in a game 7 situation. Who do you want as your game 7 goalie?
I would trust Tuuk all day as a game 7 goalie for sure.
A lot of people on Bruins Twitter who would not agree with you.
That's because Bruins are hard on their own team.
No, there are Bruins fans who are ignoramuses and don't understand what a good thing we have been given when the Maple Leafs handed us Tuukka Rask on a silver platter and he was molded into the phenomenal individual that he became.
Yeah, I mean, and we have great goalies, right? I mean, Olmark's been fucking fantastic right now. But
we're going to get to Allmark next.
Oh, okay. All right. So, yeah, I mean, Tuuk would definitely be first. Price would be the sit.
Scratch.
Sit, yeah,
and then
scratch.
and no love for King Henrik, huh?
Oh, no, I have total respect for King Henrik, but
Okay.
I can only choose two.
This is the newer day goalie one.
Okay.
Andrei Vasilevsky, Linus Allmark, or Jake Ottinger.
All very good choices.
Well, I was trying to. I didn't want to be like, oh, let's pick out hot trash goaltenders, and you'll just. Well, this is blatantly obvious.
Yeah, who's this guy?
Yeah.
I don't know.
You know, I don't want to say anything disrespectful, but if it was like, who would you pick between, what's her name? Hold on. Shayna Baszler, Tamina Snuka, and Alexa Bliss. Oh, gee, this is a real tough one.
Yeah, I agree.
I kind of do. I don't know. Alexa Bliss is pretty, but I kind of like Samoan women. Like, no, we know who we're picking.
Oh yeah. All right.
That's why it'd have to be something more difficult. You'd have to add in like Allie and then Alexa Bliss and then like Prime, like Trish Stratus, and you'd be like, all right, well, fuck me. That's a hard decision.
That would be a very hard decision. Ah, boy. It's tough because my heart wants to say Allmark because he's doing so fantastic, but I think if I was in that position in the long run, I think I would take Vasilevsky as my start.
And then you're gonna scratch Allmark and bench Ottinger or cut Ottinger.
Yeah.
All right, and then last but not least, here's the Young Guns one. This one's gonna be tough.
All right.
Cale Makar, Charlie McAvoy, Adam Fox.
Oh, all right. I think I would have to take my Makar as the.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
I love Mac, but yeah.
I mean, Makar is just
Makar
out there.
Makar would be like this version of like Bobby Orr.
A lot of people are comparing him to Bobby Orr the way he plays.
Nobody will ever be Bobby Orr.
No,
but
yeah. So I mean, and then obviously Mac would be the scratch,
and then Foxy's getting.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, here's my weird but true fact for today.
Okay.
So tonight, well, Saturday night, as you know, the Bruins played the Sabres. In for the football games today, the Vikings are playing the Bills in Buffalo. In 2014, when me and the other two members of the Brew Crew went to Buffalo to see the Bruins play on the road, they played the Sabres on a Saturday night. That Sunday, the Vikings played the Bills on Sunday. That same weekend. So, what are we now? 8 years later, right?
Yeah.
It's happening again.
Oh,
and
geez.
it's by coincidence. Because you could have put the Bruins against any other team on Saturday night. It just happens that it's the Sabres, and the Vikings and the Bills just happen to be playing each other this weekend. And my brain went...
Mind blown.
Oh, absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely.
That's great.
And that game was about 2 weeks after I was married.
Oh, wow.
So that shows you how long ago that was.
Whoo-wee.
So, yeah. The only other thing I'd really talk about would be NFL stuff.
Yeah.
What are we on for time right now?
About 26 minutes.
Oh, Christ.
Got a little bit to go.
We have a little ways to go, as it turns out. Okay. Bear with me for a second here, folks, because I got to pull up a couple things here. Because I want to talk about how my predictions have gone so far. Because I don't think they're doing very good.
Yeah.
Did I take pictures of them? I don't think that I did. Is there anything that you would like to talk about in particular? Oh, I did take pictures of them, so good on me. Okay, so I had the Bills at 13-4, the Patriots at 10-7, the Dolphins at 9-8, and the Jets at 7-10. Currently, unless the Jets go into a tailspin, they're 6-3. The Bills are still on pace at 6-2. The Dolphins are 6-3, so they're still kind of on pace. And the Pats are 5-4, and they could theoretically win 5 more games. So I'm not as bad as I thought I could be.
No, you did pretty good.
Things could have been much, much worse. In the NFC South, however, that's kind of bad. Currently, the Bucs are 4-5. The Falcons are 4-6. The Saints are 3-6, and the Panthers are 3-7. I had the Bucs at 13-4. The Saints at 9-8. The Falcons at 4-13, and the Panthers at 5-12. So we have a chance with the Panthers. The Saints, I don't think are going to. I mean, they could, but I don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah, that's.
It's going to be risky. I don't think it's going to happen though. In the AFC West, I had the Chiefs are 6-2, Chargers are 5-3, Denver's 3-5, Vegas is 2-6. I had the Chargers at 12-5, so that's not too far off. I had Vegas at 11-6, so they'd basically have to win out to get my prediction right.
Jeez.
The Broncos I had at 8-9, which is almost on pace, and the Chiefs I kind of disrespected, and I should have known better. They're 9-8, and I have them at 9-8, and they're 6-2 right now. So
oh, jeez.
I really don't see them losing that many more games.
No.
In the NFC North, this one's going to be brutal for me. I had predicted Packers at 12-5. I had Vikings at 10-7, Bears at 8-9. Sorry, Lions at 8-9, and Bears at 4-13. Vikings are currently 7-1. Packers are 3-6, which I don't think anybody saw coming. The Bears are 3-6, and the Lions are 2-6. But the Lions have had a lot of close games. They could have and maybe should have won that they didn't. So
yeah,
I'm not going to put all the blame on them.
Mm-hmm.
In the NFC West, I have the Rams at 12-5, the Cardinals at 10-7, the Niners at 9-8, and the Seahawks at 4-13. And that's a touchdown for J.J. McCarthy. Go Blue!
I saw they were getting close. I was like, ooh.
And the Seahawks are 6-3, so I gave them 4 wins. They've already won 6.
Oh wow.
The 49ers are 4-4, so they're on pace. The Rams are 3-5. I had them losing 5 games, so they'd have to win out. And the Cardinals I had at 3-6. I had at 10-7. They're at 3-6. So not great numbers.
Yeah.
In the AFC South, I had the Colts at 12-5, Titans at 11-6, Jags at 5-12, and Texans at 4-13. Tennessee's 5-3 right now, so I'm on pace with that. Indy's 3-5-1. I don't like my chances. They just got a new coach. They fired their coach last week. Jacksonville's 3-6. I'm on pace.
Yeah.
And Houston's 1-6-1. I'm definitely on pace.
Yeah.
And last but not least, we have the NFC East and the AFC North. Don't ask me why they're all backwards, but they are. Currently, the Ravens are 6-3. Cincinnati's 5-4. Cleveland's 3-5. Pittsburgh's 2-6. I have the Bengals at 10-7, which it's close. I have the Ravens at 9-8. Probably not going to happen. I think they're probably going to do better than that. Steelers at 7-10. They might be worse than 7-10. And the Browns at 4-13. They'll probably win a couple more games than that.
Yeah.
And then last but not least, probably the most surprising one that I'm going to have, because I'm even shocked by it, is the NFC East. So currently 8-0 the Eagles, 6-2 Cowboys, 6-2 Giants, 4-5 Washington. I had Washington at 4-13, so they're going to do better than that.
Yeah.
I had the Giants at 5-12, and they've already got 6 wins.
Yeah. Holy crap.
Dallas and Philly I had at 11-6. So I think Philly's going to win more than that. There are some talks that they might just go undefeated.
Wow.
We'll see. And
They have that good of a team this year?
it's not that they have a good team. It's their schedule is not that difficult on the backside. So they play Washington at home this weekend, Monday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
Then they're at Indianapolis, who's been horse shit.
Yeah.
Versus Green Bay at home. Green Bay's been terrible. Versus Tennessee could be tough. At the Giants, maybe. At Chicago, probably not. At Dallas could be the tricky one. Versus New Orleans, and then versus the Giants.
Oh, yeah.
So, but obviously, the Patriots can tell you that you can win an undefeated regular season and then come up short in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's pretty common.
So, but yeah, I mean, my predictions aren't too bad. So,
No. I mean, you're kind of on par. I mean, you can't get them all right.
No.
If you did that, you'd be winning some big money on...
I only wish I could. I only wish I could. Oh, you know what I do want to talk to you about, though, and this is more of a hockey thing quickly. Patriots obviously on a bye week this week, so. So there is talk, because the Bruins have been doing so well, and it's been pretty much said outright that this is going to be like their, chips all in, money on the table kind of deal. Where, this is one last run. They don't really have a lot of cap space. But a couple of interesting names have been brought up. One is Patrick Kane.
Oh.
Which, obviously, Patrick Kane's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion. He's a proven winner. He'd be going from one original 6 team to the other. Obviously, the salary would have to be try to figure it out. You'd have to give up a lot of prospects, because we got Taylor Hall for a ham sandwich.
We're not going to get Kane.
We are not going to get Patrick Kane for a ham sandwich in Boston. No. You'd have to give up a couple of big-time prospects. The question is, are you willing to part with those prospects for a 1-year Stanley Cup run, which may or may not happen?
So my question is, with a player like Kane, where would you put him? Because he won't accept anything on the 3rd and 4th line.
Well, you probably could put him on the first line.
With who?
Bergeron and Marchand. So you could do Bergeron, Marchand, Kane. You could do Pasta, Hall, and Krejci. And then third line now you could have Coyle, Zacha, DeBrusk, and now move Foligno to the 4th line. You could have interchangeable things.
Because I don't see DeBrusk really DeBrusk has been playing great. I don't see...
No, I know he's been playing great, but obviously you want to make sure that you have balanced lines. You don't want all of the good stuff at the top. So if you have... if DeBrusk is on the 3rd line, do you think you'd have what? You'd have Zacha, who's a scrappy guy. Coyle's a scrappy power forward. And DeBrusk is kind of the scorer on that team. Yeah. So that's what you have in that group. And injuries are going to happen, so players would move around and shuffle. God forbid something, maybe an injury, knock on wood, happens to Hall. Now you put Kane in Hall's spot. And it's if you have... I don't know if I want to go all in on Patrick Kane as a Bruins fan. Don't get me wrong. I would love Patrick Kane on the Bruins.
Yeah.
But it's going to be any move the Bruins make for a big-time name will 100% probably be a rental, a playoff rental.
Yeah.
You're going to trade whatever you're going to trade. I mean, I don't even know what the asking price for Kane would be and what any potential trade would be. Because obviously with the Hall thing, they were talking about getting rid of Jack Studnicka and a couple of high draft picks. And we traded him for Anders Bjork and a second-round pick. And I was like, wait, or fourth-round pick, whatever it was. And I'm like, wait, what?
And that was a steal.
That was a steal.
Oh, my God.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, in a player like Kane, I mean, like you said, I'd love to have him on the team. It would be great. But you also have to look at the salary,
Exactly.
and that's the biggest thing is, like, do they have the money?
Exactly.
I don't think they have that. You're probably looking at a lower-end player. Maybe somebody – did you have other names that were being floated around? Because, depending on who it is, that you might be more likely to get somebody.
I mean, I don't know,
like you said, Thornton.
Well, Thornton would just be a pickup because he's a free agent.
Yeah.
But obviously a name like Jacob Chichurin was thrown around, but you don't really need it now because you've got a pretty solid top four because Lindholm's turned into a bona fide top two with McAvoy.
Oh, yeah.
And that's a great 1-2 punch on the first line. And then your second pairing is Grzelcyk and Carlo. And
Which are both great pairings,
that's
too.
That's a great pairing, too. And even your third pair is, either Strawman, who's got playoff experience, or Clifton. With, Riley, but Riley's kind of been in and out. And then they have, is it Zaboral, I think, on the fourth?
Zaboral, yeah.
So, I mean, and the goaltending's fine. I had no problem with the goaltending.
Both Allmark and Swayman, and even with Sway being out right now, I guess apparently we're going to see Kincaid tomorrow.
Tonight.
Oh, I thought they said Sunday.
Then they said it might be Saturday.
Okay, I guess we'll have to see.
So it would have been last night if we're listening to this now.
Yeah. Because when I was listening to the radio when I was cleaning on Thursday or Friday, they said, oh, yeah, no, Kincaid will be in net on Sunday. Mm-hmm. And I said, oh, okay. So I don't know if that's still the case, but it might say it on the NHL app. Like, usually they have to let the starting lineups know.
Mm-hmm. So one team that does make sense for Patrick Kane would be the Buffalo Sabres because Patrick Kane is from Buffalo.
Yeah.
So he could do that. He could really go anywhere. I don't really know where he would go, but he could basically go anywhere.
Yeah. He's still a good player.
You could even look at, but again, it's expensive, in Erik Karlsson. But you don't really need a defenseman. It's more of the forward depth. But I would be perfectly content with I want bottom. I don't know if I want bottom six people, but you got to get gritty people who are role players.
Yes.
You don't necessarily want people who are.
The top six should be goal scorers. The bottom six should be grinders.
Well, no, I don't want the top six to be goal scorers. I want a little bit of depth in there. I want players.
Well, yeah.
Because you've obviously Marchand and Bergeron have proven that they're defensive forwards, so they can score, but they also play defense. Pasta's your sniper, and the same thing goes for Hall's. Hall's kind of the sniper, Krejci's the playmaker, and DeBrusk is also a sniper as well. So,
yeah.
Top to bottom, it's a really good team, and there's not too many holes. But at some point, you are gonna run a little. You're gonna run on some fumes because you can't keep this pace up all season.
No. They might be able to, but
I don't want them to. That's the problem.
Yeah, but it's like you said, it's about depth, and the depth is going to be the biggest thing in terms of
That's the most important part in the playoffs. Defensive depth, forward depth, because injuries are going to happen, and you just want to make sure you have the right pieces in place to fill in when the time comes.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. Especially with that fourth line, Monty seems to be filtering in and out. What?
You're so casual. You didn't even know who he was, and now you're like, oh, Monty, our coach.
I heard the players referring to him as Monty the other day.
His name's Montgomery, so they call him Monty.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I'm I got to throw it out there now. It's
So
he's our coach now.
I think I've determined now what I want for a Stanley Cup final, if it can be possible.
What's that?
Boston and Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
Bruce Cassidy with his new team against his old team.
Oh, yeah.
You got a lot of storylines there. Jack Eichel was rumored at one point to be going to Boston when he was on Buffalo, and
there would be people would have their eyes on that.
I know a lot of people hate Vegas because of how much success they've had in a short period of time. So it'd be interesting to see, like, do you root for Vegas or do you root for Boston? Because a lot of people do not like the Bruins.
No, that is true.
And my Christmas wish this year is that the Tampa Bay Lightning missed the playoffs entirely. At this point, if someone's like, oh, well, you had an easy schedule to get to the Stanley Cup final, I don't give a fuck, okay? I don't care. I don't care if we play the 3 worst teams in the league and we beat them in less than 6 games each. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Ultimately, at the end of the day, if your team's name is engraved in the Stanley Cup, that's what it matters.
That is true, yeah.
You know, the year when we played St. Louis, we got lucky because we played Toronto in the first round, Columbus in the second round, and Carolina in the third round. We didn't really play anybody difficult.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you know, unforeseen circumstances happened that we won't talk about, and we lost the Stanley Cup.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you, though. I'm tired of seeing Tampa.
Everybody is, but obviously the same thing can be said if that was the Bruins, we wouldn't be tired of it.
That is true, yeah.
I know people, you don't think in the NFL world people weren't tired of seeing the goddamn Patriots every year?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Patriots in the AFC Championship. There was a time frame for a short period of time where it was a goof on Wikipedia that the AFC Championship game was called the New England Patriots Invitational because the Patriots were there every year.
Oh, yeah.
It was almost automatic because they normally won their division, so they were one of the 2 best teams in the league in their conference, so they'd automatically get a bye week. They'd steamroll whoever they played in the divisional round, and now they're in the AFC Championship game.
Which doesn't happen anymore.
No, it does not. And, you know, people are like, oh, well, now you never know how it sucks to, you know, miss the playoffs and be bad. And I'm like, that's fine. I had my 20-year run. I'm not worried about it.
Yeah.
And like
it sucks. I became a Patriots fan after all that shit, so now I don't even get to experience it.
Well, no, but it's similar to how I am with the Red Sox. All the Red Sox World Series happened before my time, and now I have to kind of go on the downslope where rumor has it they're not re-signing J.D. Martinez, and they're not going to – they potentially might lose Xander Bogaerts.
Wow.
So I'm kind of in a shitstorm right now. I missed the bus on that one.
Jeez. That's tough, man.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
I mean, those are really good players for Boston.
A little bit. I mean,
we'll see. Maybe they'll come back.
I mean, ultimately, if they can, you know, if they can win, well, not necessarily win, but if they can put together a good enough team to get to the playoffs, anything can happen.
That is true, yeah. It's one thing about sports, you know?
Yeah.
Just never know.
I don't really have anything else to talk about unless you have anything sports-related to talk about.
Let me think. Well, I mean, we've talked about the NFL. We've talked about
a little NFL.
We could talk a little wrestling.
We could. I mean, any other NFL thing would be, you know, how confident do you feel with the rest of the Patriots schedule? So they have a bye week this coming week.
It's gonna be a tough one, but
so starting next week is when the real fun starts. So we have the Jets at home.
That's gonna be tough.
Minnesota Thanksgiving night.
Yeah,
Bills on Thursday night at home.
That one's gonna be tough.
Cardinals
that
on
be too bad.
Monday night on the road, and then there's a road game I believe against the Raiders on Sunday night, which might get flexed, and then Cincinnati at home, Buffalo on the road, and then Miami at home.
So it's a tough schedule.
It's going to be a very tough schedule.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be interesting to see how they look at Mac now and see really if he shines or if he falls short.
Yeah.
That's going to be a big key factor.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, obviously Zappe did a great job, and I can respect what he did. You know, but like you said, they're going to want to go with Mac because they're paying Mac the big money.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like people say, like, is it Mac's fault because of his decline? I kind of feel like it's management's fault because I think they rushed him back too soon.
Yeah.
And I don't know.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, if they'd given him more time to recuperate and recover, I could understand, you know, you look at it now and be like, okay, well, dude, you had a lot of time to recover, and you're still playing like shit.
Well, I mean, the whole offense hasn't been really that great. I mean, we don't obviously have the weapons we once had, and thankfully we have a very, very good defense.
Yes.
So that's been keeping us in games, but that's only going to get you so far.
Yeah.
Because at some point, you're going to go up against teams like the Bills and the Dolphins who can score and put up points, and your defense is going to have off days. And if you can't keep pace,
it's
not going to work out for you.
Yeah.
The best case scenario for the Patriots right now is the Bills quarterback, Josh Allen's been dealing with a UCL injury with his elbow or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if that's helpful for the Patriots because you don't have to play the Bills without Josh Allen, you take what you can get.
Yeah.
I mean, like we talked about, they're in last place in their division right now, but they'd be in first place in the NFC South.
Yeah.
So
now my question is that, with Zappy and how well he was playing, do you think he stays with the Patriots or do you think he's going to want to be a starter somewhere else?
Well, no, I mean, Zappy's under contract, so he can't really go anywhere. They have him on a league minimum deal or whatever it is.
Well, I'm saying once his contract is up.
It all depends. I mean, if things go sour with Mac, I don't know. Like we talked about today, there are rumors out there that Brady's going to come back next year and play with the Patriots. I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing.
I will say next year, from what I've seen, and I don't know how much they have, I've heard the Patriots have a lot of goddamn cap space next year to make a lot of moves.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. That's a good
heard.
thing.
I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard.
They didn't have that this year?
No, because they blew it all last year.
Oh,
because the year before they're typically a team that does not go out and buy players. They went out and they got Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith, they got Jalen Mills, they got Matthew Judon, they got a whole bunch of people.
Yeah, and some of those players worked out. Some of them aren't.
I mean, the Patriots' MO for a long time with Belichick has been, I'm going to get good young defensive backs and players that I get in like the 3rd, 4th, and 5th rounds in the draft, and it works out for them. It's been doing that for years. Malcolm Butler, undrafted free agent, game-saving interception to win the Super Bowl. Obviously someone like J.C. Jackson, who really came from, a lower draft spot to become the player that he is now, obviously. And obviously the same thing with Jack Jones this year. Like, that's been Bill Belichick's thing for a long time.
Yeah, it's true.
So,
I mean, we'll have to see.
yeah,
it's all like a coin flip, just ting. You never know. Heads good, tails not so good.
Don't mention coin flips. The Bills fans, they'll have PTSD.
Oh yeah.
Last year's game against the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, "Oh, we would have won that coin toss. We would have beaten the game." Well, if you could have stopped the Chiefs in 13 seconds, you would have won the fucking game too. But here we are. So,
jeez.
We can cut it short this week.
Yeah. No, this is fine. We got to get ready to watch the Bruins.
We do have to get ready to watch the Bruins. Yes.
I mean, that's only in half an hour though.
Right.
But by the time we read this, get settled in the other room.
So, first off, thank you for tuning in, especially to this week. Was it Virginia who's been?
We've had a lot. We've had Virginia's constant,
and
Germany, and we've also had a constant of Finland and Brazil.
Nice.
Yeah. We're getting some consistent followers recently, so
respect, man.
Yeah, we respect you.
So,
thank you for listening.
Streaming on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn,
and Deezer,
and wherever else you can get all major podcasts, as well as the YouTube. Everything drops at noon on Sundays, folks.
Yep.
Unless there's a special episode, which we'll try to keep you aware of the fact there might be a special episode.
Yes.
If you want to give us a call and let us know how we're doing, or just give us some thoughts on how things are going in your life, 774-764-9074. That's 774-764-9074.
And please call and leave a voicemail. And for the love of God, whoever the spam callers are that keep hitting up that phone, for the love of God, I'm going to track you down, and I'm going to choke you out with my bare hands. I get at least 2 or 3 spam calls on that phone now, and they leave voicemails like, I understand that your podcast is doing great. Please let us help you with this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, I know you're just a fucking scammer. It's like you can tell the robot voice.
Of course.
So if you're calling, give us your name. Just shout out your name.
Or if you don't want to talk to us on the phone, email us at thewickedks@gmail.com. You visit our website at www.thewickedks.com for all of the links to our different episodes.
Yeah.
Socials, Facebook, Instagram, and the Twitter at thewickedks. And, of course, our new one, Patreon. Patreon.com/wickedks. $3 to join. There's going to be some awesome content if you do. You're going to get to watch me have the 1-chip challenge and Kyle do the 1-chip challenge and Kyle eating a giant corn dog or whatever.
We're looking for 10 subscribers before we start putting that stuff up.
10 subscribers. That's all we're asking for. $30. Yep. It's really not that much.
Yeah. I mean, we're going to be putting other things up there too, even if you don't subscribe. But
absolutely.
for the most part, if you subscribe, you'll get all that. You'll get a lot more. We'll give you a shout out on the show. We'll have a grand old time. So if you like us, you want to help support us, just guys that want to stop doing their cleaning or retail shitty ass jobs,
or no job right now.
or no job, yeah, and at least make some sort of money income, so we can better all of it will go to better the show.
The more help we get, like you said, that we can better the show, and we can bring you more silly, ridiculous shit.
Yes,
and who doesn't love silly, ridiculous shit?
Because we are both silly and ridiculous
and very immature and juvenile. As you said before, you are a big fan of potty humor.
I am.
You love potty humor.
I was having potty humor all day today. So
I know you were. So, thanks for listening. We appreciate it. Be good to each other. And as always here, let's get wicked.
Peace and love.